This lesson today is appropriate for 3rd grade. So today I'm going to teach a multi-step problem using our base 10 blocks and a set model. So let's look at our word problem. Alex had 21 pieces of candy. Her mom gave her 19 more pieces of candy. Kristen has 13 pieces of candy. How many more pieces of candy does Alex have than Kristen? So, for this problem, first we need to identify our problem types. So for the first part of the problem, Alex had 21 pieces of candy. Her mom gave her 19 more pieces of candy. So for this problem, there is a change occurring. Her mom is giving her 19 more. So since there's a change occurring, our problem type is a join problem. So here's our set model for our join problem. And we are joining these two numbers together. So that is why it is a join problem. So let's look at our next part of the problem. Kristen has 13 pieces of candy. How many more pieces of candy does Alex have than Kristen? So for this type of problem, Alex has some candy, Kristen has some candy. How many more pieces of candy does Alex have than Kristen? There's no change occurring in this part of the problem. So for this particular part, we are using a compare type of problem because we are comparing how many pieces of candy Alex has compared to Kristen. So these are the two types of problems we are going to use to help us solve, and we are using a set model to help us solve today, as well as our base 10 blocks. So the first part of our problem, Alex has 21 pieces of candy. Her mom gave her 19 more. So we are going to look at our join, our set model. Our start number is 21 because Alex had 21 pieces of candy. Our change is 19 because her mom gave her 19 more. We do not know our result, so that is what we are solving for. So if we write on our board 21 plus 19, the tool we are using for this type of problem is addition because we want to know we're going to add our start plus our change, which equals the result. That may not always be the case for a join problem, but in this particular problem, we are using addition as our tool. So we are going to add 21 plus 19, so we're going to use our base 10 blocks to help us. We have 21, 19. So we're going to start in our ones place. 1 plus 9. If we add our 1 over here, add all of our units together, we get 10. So if we know that 10 units equals a rod, we can regroup our 10 units in and trade it in for another rod. So we're going to take our 10 units away and regroup it into one rod. So we have 0 units left. So we are going to write a 0 here, and we regroup them into a long or a rod. So we are going to put a 1 up here that represents this rod. So 1 plus 9 equals 10. That's what we showed. Now we need to add in our tens place. 1 plus 2 plus 1. That equals 4 if you add those together. And we get 40 in all. So 21 plus 19 equals 40. I'm going to write that over here. Our result equals 40. So that was for our join problem. Now we're going to move into our compare problem. We have Kristen has 13 pieces of candy. How many more pieces of candy does Alex have than Kristen? So in our compare problem, we have a larger set and a smaller set, and then the difference between them. So our tool that we are going to use today for this type of problem is subtraction. Now, a misconception that many students have is they see in the problem, they see the word more, and they automatically think, oh, we are going to be adding, but that is not the case. That may be the case up here where it says more, but that's not the case in this particular problem. We are actually using subtraction because we want to know how many more pieces Alex has than Kristen, so we have to subtract our larger set and our smaller set. So our larger set is 40. And we know that because we got 40 over here. That's the number that Alex has. And then our smaller set is 13. And we know that because they told us Kristen has 13 pieces of candy. So we're going to be using subtraction, so we need to do 40 minus 13. And we are looking for our difference between the two numbers. So we're going to use our base 10 blocks again to help us. So we have 40 right here. We're going to start in our ones place, 0 minus 3. Okay, well 0 minus 3, but you can't do that. So we are going to regroup our one rod, or one long, for our 10 units. Just like we did before, we are going to set these out. There's 10 units. So we regrouped these 10 units from a rod, and this will help us subtract in our problem. So we have this turns into a 10, and since we took one rod away, we have only 3 left, so that's why we marked that out and put a 3 here. So we have 3 in the tens place and 10 in the ones place. So we have 10 minus 3, and that equals, if we take 3 away, we have 7. And then when we move into the tens place, we have 3 minus 1, and that equals 2. So we took 1 away, we have 2, 27. So when we look back at our problem, we have 21 pieces of candy. Our mom gave her 19 more. That was Alex's, so she had 40 in all. Then we compared the two. We took the larger minus the smaller. We didn't know that before, and we found out that the difference between the number of pieces of candy that Alex has than Kristen is 27. So Alex has 27 more pieces of candy than Kristen. And that's how you solve our problem.